Shalom, shalom. Right now, making the rounds of the internet is the arrest of romance author, Tori Woods, real name Lauren Tesolin-Mastrosa, and her newly self-published novel that has gotten her arrested for abuse content of very illegal kinds that I won't go into. You probably are aware of the story. Her social media and her Amazon page has been deactivated, so the book is not available. But it looks like she had another Amazon author account under the same Tori Woods name that has not been deactivated yet as the time I'm recording this, and so let's look into it. So, she had apparently this Tori Woods account before made the other one that got her in trouble with that book, Daddy's Little Girl. So, let's look into it here. So here's Tori Woods about the author. I'm Tori Woods, an Aussie author who's addicted to reading and writing contemporary romance. I'm married to my soulmate and we have two adorable kitties together. Just quick break, can you believe that she was working as a marketing executive for like a Christian care company? I don't know what kind of care, Baptist care? Can you believe that? My God. Anyway. I've been writing for 15 years under a different pen name, but decided it was Tori's time to shine. If I could do anything in the world, it would be to travel forever. I'm an emo music lover, and a guilty pleasure of mine is that I love to get a cheeky weekly massage. Cheeky weekly massage. What is cheeky weekly massage? Cheeky as in, I'll leave you to think of the visuals. Something you might find weird about me is that when I need to think, I get in my car and drive in sounds with no direction in mind. Visiting New Orleans is the top of my bucket list, and I'm a huge Disney fan. An ugly word, but beautiful thing in the world is that I love is the flower pig face. Okay, so now that's a little bio. Let's go into her books. There's 2 books under this account. Neither were published in Kindle format, and both are out of stock to buy in print. But there's a sample available, so I can go there. So the first one is The Prime Minister's Mistress, Love Me in the Light series. So I'll go ahead and read I'll read the synopsis first. The Prime Minister's Mistress is a contemporary romance novel about forbidden love. What happens when a married man in an open relationship crosses boundaries and falls for another woman who isn't his wife? Add in the fact his mistress and his daughter work together on top of him running the country, and you have the scandal of all affairs just waiting to happen. Follow Prime Minister John and domestic and family violence counselor Daisy as they confront their deepest desires and fears. So the mistress is a domestic and family violence counselor and gets involved with a toxic man. Wow, okay. Well, that's interesting. So let's read the sample of it. The book's about 300 pages almost. J. I'm married on paper. I'm the Prime Minister of Australia. For the sake of public appearance, my wife and I act like the perfect couple. Behind closed doors, we have a mutual understanding to keep our affairs quiet. That is, until I met her. I want everything with her. She's a former sex worker, but I'm about to make her mine. Daisy. I never intended to fall for a married man. I never thought I'd be the Prime Minister's mistress. He met me when I was an escort. But I gave it all up for him. I knew better than to fall for another woman's husband. I should stay away, but it is impossible because from the moment we met, he has always been mine. Wow, sounds horrible. Okay, dedication. Oh, I skipped over that, sorry. To the girl who is a guy's dirty little secret, you deserve more than to be hidden away. Trigger warnings. Age gap affair, assault, attempted rape, blackmail, body shaming, bullying, cheating, death, divorce, domestic and family violence, emotional abuse, grief, infidelity, intrusive thoughts, knife violence, mass murder, mental health, mention of cancer, neglect, parental death, physical abuse, pregnancy, sexually explicit scenes, slut shaming, trauma, violence. That's just everything. We got just everything there. Okay, all of it. Acknowledgements. This book is controversial. There's no doubt about that. There are 2 main themes throughout. Cheating, affair, and domestic and family violence. I encourage you to go into the book with an open mind, but before you get there, I want to discuss an epidemic that is plaguing Australia. Domestic and family violence. There is no excuse for abuse. More than 1 woman a week is killed in Australia at the hands of a violent partner. This epidemic has to stop. We need to end violence against women and children once and for all. I'm beyond grateful to work in the domestic and family violence space, helping survivors escape their harrowing circumstances. Is that what Baptist care is for place of employment? And yet she published a book that got arrested because of abuse. Wow. To my husband, thank you for showing me how a real man treats a woman. Now I'm suspicious of the husband. I live in constant light because you never show me any darkness. To G and M, you are both unbelievably talented, special, and I know I would not have had my success without either of you. I only ever want the best things for you in life. Thank you to my ARC readers for taking a chance on me, to all the readers who have chosen to download The Prime Minister as Mistress. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've made this dreamer's dream come true. And then her social media, published in 2024, but it said 2025. Okay, do I get a sample of chapter 1? J. I'll never forget the advice my father gave me when I was 12 years old. It was right after I opened the door to his office and saw him with his suit pants down, his ankles nailing his secretary. The red-headed whore had a tacky, bright pink G-string stuffed in her mouth and was bent over his desk. What made the entire scene even more sick was that her head was only centimeters away from where a framed family photo of my parents and myself stood. He, cries of sheer ecstasy, told me she didn't give a fuck that she was ruining a marriage, let alone a family. Her cries, not his, sorry. Oh, wow, well, one, what a picture to start with. And she, while having an orgasm, said that she didn't care she was ruining a marriage, let alone a family. When my father spotted me, he had the audacity to tell me to wait outside while he finished. As you expect from a kid whose illusion of his father was firmly shattered, I numbly nodded and obeyed. I couldn't tell you how long I sat cross-legged outside his door. It could have been seconds, minutes, or hours. I do remember hearing his nasally grunt, her high-pitched squeals, the slapping of skin, and the final crescendo where he let out a mighty roar. I also remember how vacant his office was, which was unusual for him and his notoriety. You'd assume, being the Prime Minister of Australia, that he'd have the entire entourage of people to keep him accountable, including a tight team of security. I quickly came to the conclusion that he would have given strict orders for everyone to vacate the premises. When the door reopened, I almost gagged at the sight of the whore exiting. Her buttons were haphazardly done up incorrectly, lipstick was smudged, and hair disheveled. The sight of my father, who was leaning cross-legged on the edge of his desk, was infinitely worse. His flaccid, I'm not saying that word, was still hanging out, and he went about wiping the sloppy, a word in there I won't say, juices of her off. He didn't even use protection. I averted my gaze to the ground to tame my emotions. I was always told boys don't cry, but I could feel the sting in my nose and prickle behind my eyes intensifying. Counting backwards from 10, my emotions shifted to rage and horror. Come in here, son, he bellowed. Blinking, I mechanically got to my feet and walked into the office that reeked of cheap perfume and sex. A lump the size of Tasmania was lodged in my throat. Does Mum know? He had the audacity to scoff. This isn't about your mother. Even if she did, she'd never leave because she knows her place. She loves being the First Lady and enjoys her lifestyle. She won't mind being humiliated because she'll still be the #1 lady of our country. That's terrible. I do not believe that is the most unrealistic dialogue for this situation ever. John James Carrington II exuded power and dominance. He was considered the modern JFK of Australia, with more charisma and intelligence than any of his predecessors. He won the election by a landslide and had upheld his promises to progress Australia into the future. The public adored him and the country was thriving because of him. He could do no wrong. Up until today, he was my hero, but now any respect I had for him had decimated. He tossed the wet wipe into the trash and crossed his arms over his chest. When he assumed this position, it was typically to give me some stage advice, but at this moment I couldn't imagine what wisdom he'd be dispensing. One day, son, you'll understand. You'll be expected to marry someone suitable, someone who fits the mold of an exemplary First Lady. Together, you'll be the perfect couple in public, but behind closed doors, you'll tolerate each other. You might even love her or grow to love her, but as a man in power, you'll want more. You'll want all a word you can read available on tap. Just know it's okay to have a side piece that F's like a word I won't say. Just keep her a secret. Gobsmacked at what a filthy bastard he was, I acknowledged him with a wry smile and nodded. He was right about one thing. Mom turned a blind eye and acted oblivious to all his affairs, plastering on a fake smile just so she could live a life of luxury. How do I know she knew? Too many times my father would come home reeking of hookers. If that didn't tip her off, I'm sure the many stains on his shirts from various shades of lipstick did. There was even one time when we were overseas meeting with some European delegates, and instead of sleeping together in the same room, he and his mistress secretary holed up in another. He blatantly flaunted his dalliances in front of her, and still she played the flawless and doting wife. To this day, they're still together. He was abhorrent and she was a dimwit. For years, I steeled myself against accepting my inevitable fate that my life and my wife, to an extent, was somewhat planned out for me. I didn't want to believe I would become just another version of him. Instead, I focused on becoming a formidable shark when it came to politics. However my father acted in his personal life, I couldn't fault the impressive leader he was. By 16, I was shadowing him. At 21, I graduated with a Bachelor of Economics majoring in political science. A year later, I married a suitable woman, Allison, and 2 years later, we welcomed our daughter, Sophie. Allison was Jackie Kennedy reincarnated. Our parents didn't run in the same circles, but she came from an impeccable family, one with old money in mining. We met at a university and began dating. It was easy and uncomfortable, and I enjoyed her company. She was stunning and classy, but also intelligent and laid back. As we got closer as friends, a small spark ignited, and we took the next step. Was it explosive? No, but there was affection and respect. She made me smile, and I knew she'd be an incredible wife and mother. I loved her, I just wasn't in love with her. I think on some level she felt the same, but neither of us initiated the conversation for many years. For a decade, we kept up the facade. We had regular sex, which was satisfying. We were affectionate with the hand-holding, hugging, and kissing, and as a couple, we grew together, spending a lot of time, creating incredible memories. To the outside world, we were a match made in heaven. At the 10-year mark, our relationship started to wane. We didn't fight, we just sort of gave up or ignored the growing distance. Eventually, we hashed it out and decided that for the sake of our 7-year-old and my political career, we'd remain married for all intents purposes. We agreed to seek comfort elsewhere as long as we were discreet. I felt as light as a feather that day when we finally came to our new arrangement. The pressure to act real in a fake marriage evaporated, and soon we made an agreement allowing me to center my attention on my career. By the time I was 28, I was already a member of the parliament for the Liberal Party, and my glittering political career went from strength to strength, following in my father's footsteps. I became the Minister for Finance and the Minister for Women. At 38, I transitioned from being Deputy Prime Minister to Prime Minister of Australia. John James Carrington III, but the public affectionately calls me JJ. Now at 40, I wasn't just one on the same trajectory as my father. I was reliving his exact life, Mr. Sanal. I didn't pump and dump a chorus of women like he did. I fell for one exquisite woman. She might technically be classified as my mistress, but I don't see her that way. 2 years ago, she stole my heart, and I fell in love with this gorgeous girl. She's my better half, and diminishing or relegating her status as my side piece or girlfriend is the highest insult. Bending my head, my lips firmly wrap around one of Daisy's aroused body parts. God, she's perfect. Every damn part of her is perfection. As my tongue circles her light pink areola at my teeth and nip at her bud, she presses my head to her. More J, Daisy moans, as her tight pink wet part squeezes my part impossibly tight. I palm her other breast in my hand and groan as I feel its natural suppleness. It's swollen, firm, and heavy as I cradle it. Unlike Allison's rock-hard plastic ones, Daisy are natural. She's not flat-chested or overly large. They're just perfectly proportioned for her, the lithe body. It drives me wild knowing they fit like a glove in my hand. At that, though, I squeeze it, making her buck against me. This sex scene does not sound sad. This sounds painful. This just sounds really terrible. I grunt as I keep sucking at her body part, getting lost in her essence. I have vivid withdrawals from her scent and taste when I'm not with her. She always manages to smell like summer cocktails and the beach. It's a mix between the sweetness of lychee and the tartness of salt. My mouth waters as I lick the sweat that's gathered on her chest. Baby, it comes out husky and breathy. I don't even have to look up to know that her eyes are closed and say that she continues to hump me. She's trapped in a state of euphoria as she clenches around me, thighs shaking. Her arms are wrapped tight around my neck as she grinds on top of me. I love this position because I get to see her flawless face fall apart in unbridled pleasure as she comes undone at my hands. I hate that I only have stolen moments with her. It's 2 p.m. on a Friday, and I only have a couple of hours before I switch back to Prime Minister mode. Okay, that was the most, I mean, a story about someone trying to avoid becoming his father and then a powerful person that ends up becoming exactly could be interesting. That was the most cliched writing of sex scenes. And it's interesting that his dad, the prime minister, was described as charismatic, like JFK, and yet it just seems to me like the sleaziest, trashiest guy that no one would elect as president. Like, at least JFK got with Marilyn Monroe. Like, this dude's just, going after cheap women. It's like, what's a good comparison? Well, actually, he's a little more closer to the Trump, I guess you could say. But comparing JFK, and then John James Carrington III, the son, he's like, oh, I don't want to become him, I don't want to become him, but then, but it's more like, it seems like, actually, the way my dad was living wasn't so bad, actually. That's like what I think he wants to say, but just can't admit. It's like, it wasn't so bad the way my dad had it. He had it right, even though I didn't want to become him. And maybe it's kind of like he's avoiding that guilt that he actually does agree with his dad by finding a better woman than his dad did. Okay, that was a terrible book. So now let's go to, I can't read the entire thing. Let's go to the other one. The other one, which has a much more, I think, provocative title and premise. So I'll see that. It's called Mistletoe. Very fun. Mistletoe, a Christmas and holiday ex-boyfriend's father contemporary. That is a long subtitle. That's a little bit, okay. A Christmas and holiday ex-boyfriend's father contemporary romance novella. That's insane. Okay, hold on. So let's go to the premise of this. Mistletoe is a sweet and naughty Christmas holiday contemporary romance novella that follows Chris and Holly. Chris is Holly's ex-boyfriend and boyfriend's dad and boss. Unbeknownst to them, they meet on a Christmas-themed hookup app, Mistletoe, that allows them to indulge in all their naughty Christmas fetishes. Find out what happens when Candy, aka Holly, and Noel, aka Chris, find out who each other really are. That sounds like a really, really, really crappy erotic parody of like an Emily Henry novel. But okay, let's go to the beginning of that. Okay, does this have a warning? What's AVA book editing? Oh, just like a book editing service. Wow, someone had to edit this book. Oh my god. Okay. Marketing and PR. Georgia Stove, PA, and Misha Taylor, PA. Jeez. To these people who accepted the job, I'm sorry. Okay. So, is there like a warning? Let's see. Dedication. Should you ever find yourself the victim of other people's bitterness, smallness, or insecurities, remember things could be worse. You could be them. What does that even mean? You could be them. If you ever find yourself the victim of someone's terribleness, what's worse is being them. Well, not really, because then you're not the victim. So, I mean, I get the moral of that, but still, that's not a nice thing to say. Okay. Blurb. Holly, I have a massive crush on my boss. He's the definition of a DILF Santa. He's over 20 years older than me, but that's not the problem. It's the fact that he's also my ex's boyfriend's dad. Chris, I can't stop thinking about my pretty young intern. She's young enough to be my daughter. But that's not the problem. It's the fact that she's also my son's ex-girlfriend. Mistletoe, a hookup app that promises to satisfy all your Christmas desires. Candy for your cane, aka Holly. Hi, I'm Candy, and I'm horny for your cane. Christmas is my favorite time of year, and I'm ready to spread some of my Christmas joy with you. I can't wait to be naughty and nice and everything sugar and spice. XOXO Candy. Noel with the big pole, aka Chris. Hi, I'm Noel, and I want you to ride my pole. I'm seeking Mrs. Claus willing to get down on all fours. I want an angel who's sinful and perky and will let me stuff her like a turkey. I'm sorry, I'm getting sick just reading this. Okay. Trigger warnings. Age gap, body shaming, divorce, emotional abuse, hospitalization, neglect, sexually explicit scene. Again, all of them. Okay, let's see. And then there's, a playlist of Christmas songs. Okay. Of course, Mariah Carey's there. Okay. Oh, acknowledgements. Oh, are we going to get an apology speech from the author? Okay, let's read that. I debated whether or not to put this story out there. Why do you keep writing these stories you know are not going to be well received? Why, Tori, Laura, whatever? It would have been a lot easier just to give up. This year has been anything but easy. Circumstances beyond my control blindsided me. I shut the world out for a long time. If it wasn't for G and M believing in me, I'm not sure this phoenix would have risen from the ashes. Thank you both for being the kindest people in a world that's full of ugly. Thank you to my ARC readers for taking a chance on me. I hope you enjoyed Chris and Holly's story. To all the readers who have chosen to download Mistletoe, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've made my... Okay, so G and M, I think, are the marketing people. Hold on, I'm going to go back up and see. Okay, marketing and PR, Georgia Stove and Misha Taylor, PA. Yeah, okay, so they were the marketing people. So they were the ones who told her to write this book. And then also that dedication is weird because it's like, okay, Tori had a bad year. I don't know what happened, but this is what comes out of it. A sexy Christmas story about age gap, borderline incestuous. What? That's what comes out of it? Like, this is what she goes through a rough year, things are terrible for her, and this is what, like, her therapy. Okay, wow, okay. Alright then, I guess I'll just start the story. Chapter 1 is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Holly. I bet he makes the ladies jingle all the way. The words Gloria, my very inappropriate and crass friend, said months ago, echo through my mind, putting ideas in my head that definitely shouldn't be there. Who am I kidding? As I rake my eyes over the delicious man in question, I know there isn't a single thing I wouldn't let him do to me. Seriously, what would I give to have this long, thick, hard candy cane in my... No, stop. What the fudge is wrong with me? I cannot, I repeat, I cannot under any circumstance be drooling, practically salivating over my boss, who happens to be none other than my ex-boyfriend's father, Chris. Feeling my cheeks flame brighter than Rudolph's nose, I glance around to see if anything... These Christmas allegories are not sexy, I'm sorry, it's not... Why? I glance around to see if anyone noticed me. I'm the gorgeous man currently stringing up early Christmas decorations. To my credit, any human alive with the gift of sight would have the same naughty thoughts and reactions that I'm having seeing this hunky Santa in my action. No human alive would. No. Not in the Santa thing. No human would. This is exactly how I imagine a DILF Santa to look like. Young. Today has been grueling. I already had to suffer through watching him haul out the boxes from the basement, enduring how affable he looks when he flexes his muscles, and let's not forget how I'm currently moaning at the rugged patch of skin above his jeans each time his shirt lights up as he nails his handmade candy on the roof. There's just something about a man who has body hair. It makes them more rough, more manly. I'm not even going to get into his ass. I've spent far too many times wondering what it would look like with my bite mark on his cheeks. Holy snowballs, why won't my mind stop with these thoughts? I know exactly why. Why does this character think in Christmas-related sexual metaphor? Why? Get it. I know exactly why. I've had a crush on this man since I stepped foot in his store months ago. Too bad I made a mistake of getting with his son. My mind has wandered down so many sinfully salacious fantasies that, at this point, it's just unhealthy for me to be thinking these things and not doing anything about it. God, I need sex. I'm in desperate need of an orgasm. He isn't helping my deluded fantasies at all by being the epitome of my dream man. Yeah, deluded fantasies, that's for sure. Go see a therapist, not go after the fantasies. God, he's creating whimsical winter wonderland in the lead up to Christmas, all because I told him I was obsessed with festive seasons. He even declared that this year's theme is Winter Christmas after my last name, Winter. Swoon. Oh wow, your last name happens to be Winter. Holly Winter, is it? His thoughtfulness coupled with his sexiness is sure to crucify me at some point. He assures me that by the time he's done, the store will resemble Santa's home at the North Pole. Every time he says the word pole, my eyes lustfully drift down to his groin just for a moment. My mind then creates every filthy scenario it can about how he could use his said pole on me. Pushing myself off the counter to distract my wayward thoughts about the man who has featured in all my dirty dreams for almost a year, but I busy myself with restocking the caramel. One square at a time. One square at a time. Come on, Holly, just keep piling the sugary gooiness on top of each other. That's it. One square at a time. I think to myself, maybe if I inwardly chant enough, I'll forget about how I wish his thick beard would tickle between my legs, gazing my very dry dripping. You get the idea. I don't know how much more I can read of this because this is just making me sick. And I think you get the idea because it seems the rest of the text is very repetitive and it's just a bunch of really bad Christmas-related sex jokes that are just going to get very repetitive. Like this, all these sample chapters are just basically the setup to a corn scene. And nothing really happens. There doesn't appear to be anything that like gives any insight into the characters' personalities or thoughts or why they're like this. And I don't know how long. Well, this is a very long sample. Wow, these are actually quite a lot of sample pages. Oh, it gives this chapter 2. Wow, I think Tori or Lauren really wanted us to read. I think she just really wanted the story out there just to shock us. Wow, these are a lot of pages. Okay, wow. Well, anyway. Okay, you get the point. This person clearly has a very twisted mind and clearly has some very interesting sexual explorations. And writing as a form of sexual exploration is not a bad thing at all. But to just put it out here, it's almost like she's trolling us, like mocking, like, ha ha, you have to put up with my gross, disgusting thoughts. Almost like, say, somebody in school when you're a kid who then, like, shows you a dirty picture just to shock you, or makes fun of your sex life or non-existent sex life. I don't know. I feel like this is just basically an adult version of doing that, of just basically, like, making fun of maybe in the locker room, like when one boy's like making fun of like another boy's body, ha ha, you're so puny and unsexy or whatever, or making, dick jokes. This just feels like the adult version of that. She's like, my mind's twisted, ha 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 ha, shock you. I just like, why this book? Like, she clearly put a lot of time into editing and marketing this. She thanks her marketers in this book. But I'm like, who is this for? It seems she just more wants to just shock people and like upset people with her writing. And if you're going to do that with no purpose that helps better someone's understanding of something, then why do it at all? And not even the reason I just gave is the best reason to even put that stuff out there. But okay. It's really sad and scary. I mean, given that she wrote these things, it's not too surprising that what came out that got arrested is what got her arrested. The first one, the Prime Minister's, I mean, okay, you know what, that stuff is passable, I guess. Well, I haven't read the entire thing, so I'm not entirely sure. But this book is just like, this book just to me just says she gets a thrill out of just shocking people with her sick, twisted fantasies and took it too far. This Missile Hoe book. Anyway, I wonder if we're going to get to learn more about her and if she's done worse than what we know. Okay, so now let's go to what Goodreads has to say about her books. I'll start with Missile Hoe, because that one's just so laughable. And I'll go down, and obviously I'm excluding the reviews that are review bombing it because of the scandal of her arrest. I'll just, the ones that came before, to see what this book actually was like. Delaney Spiller says, listen, I expected sex. Obviously I didn't expect to read straight up porno, next level smut. A ton of typos. Also, I expected something coy, a slow burn maybe. The title made me laugh, so I jumped in. I actually fear I need a shower after this. If you want a book full of freaky Christmas sex fetish, this would be. Well, that was pretty obvious from the book. This book was interesting. The spice was spicing. I mean, it was basically porn. My main problem is that there was no plot. Okay, yeah, I kind of figured, given that the first 2 chapters, which are given as samples, no development happened. That was kind of obvious. No character building, and no story aside from smut. I know they claim to fall in love, but there's no way they could fall when they didn't even talk. I did like the idea of an app. It was a cool, different way to include spice into the book, but other than that, the plot was all over the place. Don't get me started on the pet names he was calling her. I'm okay with age gap books, but the pet names were killing me. Like, okay, get it, she's young. Either way, this book was okay. Oh, this review is interesting. The author is originally Lauren Mastrosa, aka Lauren Ashley or L. Ashley, who's plagiarized another author's book before harassing that author when proof was shown that she plagiarized word for word. She changed her name and got away with it before she was called out for her most recent P-word romanticization. I'm sure she'll change her name again and continue putting horrible books just to write a crappy non-apology and keep going. Some people have no morals. Oh, she plagiarized before. The editing was horrible. So many typos. It was impossible to read. IDK, how I managed to finish this. Their whole relationship just gives me the ick. Wow, this was something. So some people liked it. There are some people who did like this book and gave it stars. I mean, I think this Missile Hoe is a very self-explanatory book as to what it is. So a lot of people complain about the bad writing and editing, but some people did like it. So now we're at The Prime Minister's Mistress, which this has a lower rating, but I'm sure a lot of that is because of the scandal. So let's see. This person, I think the same person addressing the plagiarism thing. I'm so grateful to Tori Woods and Pixel and Quill Studio for the opportunity to receive an ARC, so that's the publisher. Packed extra panties for reading this book. Tori earned her crown as the undisputed queen of filthy age gap smut. I guess that's her niche. Okay, this person really liked it. Oh, wow, a lot of people actually like this book. Just people, okay. This book actually, I mean, a lot of the 1 stars are clearly because of the scandal, and I think some people who knew about the plagiarism before, but a lot of people actually did like this book. Another person talking about plagiarism. The author, Lauren Ashley, is the same author whose book, Pieces of Us, L. Ashley plagiarizes Baron's Second Chance. So Baron's Second Chance, I guess, was the book that she took under the name Lauren Ashley or L. Ashley. Wow, this book has a lot of very positive reviews. Okay, so this is Pieces of Us by L. Ashley, who is also Tori, who is also Lauren Mastrosa, so the same person. And this is a book she plagiarized that I guess was published last year. So he was always Amity. He was always my missing link. I thought our friendship was steadfast. I thought our relationship was unbreakable. I thought our love was resilient, formidable. I was wrong. When he chose her, he broke us. When he let them bully me, our connection was severed. Now, after years being apart, he wants to fix what was broken. But how can you mend something so irreparably damaged? Lincoln. Okay, so another his-her side, kind of like the Prime Minister book, but okay. And one of the reviews say, it's giving Baron Second Chance. Noticeable differences. Dad instead of mom, influence instead of model. Okay, so people very quickly, when it was published, people noticed, Byron's Second Chance. Well, I don't know, maybe that's a typo. People immediately noticed the similar, okay, yeah, people are calling out this book basically that it's plagiarized. Okay, wow. Okay, people got it. Wow, this person really has just been trying to get in trouble for a long time.